Welcome back to another episode of the Basement Ballers. I hope you guys are all doing well. Today it's Ballon d'Or ranking day. These are the rankings that are going to be that we predict going into next season around end of September. Obviously, everything is a personal opinion, and we want to hear yours. So make sure you go to the comment section and let us know who your top five ranking will be. We're only going to go top five for today. Maybe in future TikTok lives or YouTube lives or whatever, we might expand the list to a top 10. But for now, it's top five. So let us know what you think. And without further ado, let's begin. Brahim, we're going to start off in the number 5 position.
All right, so I got the Portuguese maestro himself. I got Vitinha as number 5. I think comfortably, either the best or second best midfielder in the world. I have him as my second best personally. I have Pedri as number 1, but Vitinha was very, very good for PSG. As they won the Champions League, obviously won the Nations League with Portugal, and the Club World Cup right now, semifinals. And mind you, this list obviously might change after the Club World Cup because if, let's say, PSG win it, then, some of these players might be higher. But for now, I got Vitinha 5th. I think he was the engine behind PSG's success. I feel like without him, PSG don't win the Champions League because he's basically the key to everything they do, in my opinion, in that midfield. So I have him as 5th. Honorable mention I could stick in here, pause, number 5 would be Salah. But I just can't put Salah in this top 5, I'll be honest. But I'd say honorable mention, I'd put him.
You don't have Salah in your top 5?
No, I do not. But I'd have honorable mention, it's Salah 5th.
For the long... Oh, my God. All right.
So who do you have 5th?
Number 5, I have Rafinha.
Rafinha?
Yeah, Rafinha. Because Rafinha, despite... he should have won Champions League Player of the Season. He didn't. And by the way, I'm basing all my rankings on how I think they will vote. I think Rafinha will not be very high, to be honest. Goals and assists aside, of course, incredible season on that front. Though those are really good. But realistically, there should be, in my opinion, some kind of La Liga tax for these stats, because we saw what happened when Anthony went from Manchester United to Real Betis. That brother was scoring goals and assisting like it was nobody's business. There needs to be some kind of La Liga tax when these brothers are playing teams like Mallorca and Leganés and these brothers week in and week out. So I think that's all cool. That's all fun. He did well in the Champions League. I think after the Brazil-Argentina game, his form kind of dropped a little bit.
Yeah, you say that, but he scored twice against Madrid, twice against Inter Milan. And
he still got knocked out in the Champions League by Inter Milan. But
and Salah
and
got knocked out in
because I know for a fact that the Champions League is being used against Salah to sort of diminish his season. So I'll play ball. That's what it is. You guys got knocked out overall. So I mean, it doesn't matter whether you got knocked out in the round of 16 or you got knocked out in the semifinals. At the end of the day, you're knocked out. You didn't win.
It does matter. But yeah, anyways, okay.
Rafinha at number 5. At number 4, though, go ahead.
I got Pedri.
So you have Pedri over Vitinha, but yet Vitinha won more things.
Yeah, Pedri was a better player.
2 more trophies.
Where's 2?
And the biggest trophy in Europe.
What are the 2?
Nations League and Nations League, which Portugal defeated Spain for, by the way.
Okay.
And Pedri was playing.
Okay.
And also the Champions League.
Okay.
The biggest trophy in Europe.
Yeah, so to you the Ballon d'Or is based on trophies or who's a better player?
So how do you dictate who's a better player? Based on what? Based on
you dictate a better player by watching them and by checking their contributions.
Their contributions to the team.
Yeah, Pedri contributed to 3 trophies this year.
Okay, well, Vitinha contributed to 5.
Okay, but Pedri's a better player.
On what basis?
Watch them. He's a better player.
We're gonna use the watch them argument.
Well, yes.
When I watch Vitinha, they pretty much do the exact same shit. The role for the team is pretty much the exact same.
For sure, man. All right, so who do you got for?
I got Vitinha.
Okay.
Because Vitinha, like I said, he's had an incredible season. Arguably been the best midfielder this season.
Over Rafinha, by the way.
Of course, over Rafinha. Again, one more.
So if Inter Milan won the Champions League this year, would you say Lautaro Martinez was the Ballon d'Or winner?
No, but I put him in the top 5.
Yeah, you're.
It's just you're thinking based on your own lens. You're not thinking about how they're going to vote for it. At the end of the day, we understand how important winning the Champions League is to the Ballon d'Or voters.
But is this my list? Is this or I'm basing my list on what other people would say? This is just my list.
You're supposed to predict how you think the top 5 is going to turn out.
Yeah, I can predict it based on what I think should happen.
Well, I mean, you're going to be wrong at the end of the day, so it is what it is.
So, yeah.
Anyway,
you got Vitinha 4. Okay, that's fine. Yes, that's fine. Okay. Who do you got? We can move on to third. I got Dembele third.
Dembele third. Okay. Well, explain why.
Because obviously won the Champions League, great, but he only started playing really after January, so I'm not gonna put him as first for him because he had 4 good months during the year. And don't get me wrong, very good month. Obviously won the Champions League, whatever. But I'm not gonna put a player who didn't do it throughout the whole season in like second or first because you have to be doing it throughout the whole season. Dembele was getting benched and dropped for like a lot of the first half of the season. He got benched and dropped versus Arsenal. He got dropped in some Ligue 1 games, whatever. So I can't put him higher than third. But, great season, good stats. Obviously won the Champions League, so put him in top 3.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to rate the victory of winning a Ligue 1 trophy less than the La Liga trophy, I agree. You should. It is worth less for me, right? And for most people, I'm sure. All right, so then you still take away, obviously, a La Liga domestic treble is a lot better than a Ligue 1 domestic treble. Cool, right? But when you are the best player voted by the UEFA, best player on the Champions League winning team, and
Yeah, but we can agree that shouldn't have been
we
Dembele.
agree, disagree. It's the reality.
It's the reality, yes.
The
but
vote, the
like
vote,
that-
the vote went to him. He won the Champions League Player of the Season. You can agree, you can disagree, right? But nobody's gonna. The Ballon d'Or is not gonna be about the what if trophies that people won. It's about what they actually won, right?
Okay.
And so, obviously, he won that while also winning the Champions League, being very important for his team on both fronts, right? He was the main reason why they had that turnaround back in January because in terms of like just European football, PSG were mediocre at best, right? Dembele turns up, he starts putting like banger after banger past teams like Brest and teams like
But also, mind you, real quick, one thing I forgot to mention. PSG, despite obviously they won the Champions League, but to hammer home how bad they were, and especially how bad Dembele was early on in the season. So PSG only made it to the knockout stages by like 1 point because obviously they changed the format this year. And what was it? It's the top 16 teams who go in straight away. Yeah, they finished I think 15th or 16th, but they were basically like 1 point out of going to like the playoffs or whatever. So yeah. So that's why I can't put him higher. But who do you have as third?
Lamine Yamal.
Lamine Yamal is third. Okay.
Lamine Yamal, because incredible season. I think he's been Barcelona's best player this season, which is a lot to say considering you had a lot of good players. But most influential player, probably just ahead of Pedri, in my opinion, in terms of influence on the team. And of course, like with the domestic treble to show for it. Well, those are all very good things. I think perhaps what some voters might use is like, okay, he's only scored I think like 9 league goals. He's assisted a bunch. Fair play to him.
Yeah, he has 18 goals and 25 assists in all competitions as a 17-year-old.
Yeah,
he has 43 GA.
Very good, which is very good.
That's 5 off of Dembele, who you guys think should be the Ballon d'Or one. Dembele had 48, Lamine had 43.
Yeah,
and Dembele was a striker.
Dembele's a Champions League winner.
Yeah, well,
Again, you need to put things into context.
I have a question about Timo Werner's a Champions League winner. What's your point? Kai Havertz a Champions League
You're
winner.
comparing Timo Werner to Dembele.
No, but you're using this Champions League winner thing. So, okay, Timo Werner's a Champions League winner. Does that mean he's a good player?
No, I'm just saying we're talking about Ballon d'Or ranking for this season, and so I'm just trying to help you understand that there's a certain criteria that's going to help somebody's case for Ballon d'Or, right? And winning certain trophies obviously helps your case.
For sure. All right, so you got Lamine as third. Okay.
Yes. Who do you got second?
Lamine. I got Lamine as second. Basically, the stats back it up. His contribution to the team back it up. Just visibly just watching him. Here's the thing. This is what I've realized talking to a lot of people when we do like lives about it. All the TikTok guys. But yeah, this is what I've realized whenever I've talked to people about this. They'll tell you Dembele deserves it more than Lamine Yamal Ballon d'Or. Yes, but they will tell you Lamine Yamal is a better player than Dembele. I don't feel like that's something people will eyes.
I don't think that's crazy to say.
That's not. It's not even that's crazy. I feel like that should be the norm. I feel like if you actually watch football and don't just look at stats and just want to rage bait because you hate Barca, it's very obvious Lamine Yamal is a better player than Dembele. And this year, like you said, he was our second most influential player. I think the first one was still Pedri, but basically. Lamine Yamal, obviously stats back it up. The whole 9 goals, and that's a lie. He has 18. 25 assists, was the best or arguably second best player on the team that won a domestic treble. Dunked on Madrid's head countless times this year. with goals in the league, the Super Cup, whatever. Also, yeah, 2 goals. He scored in the 4-0 in the Bernabeu, scored in the 4-3 at the Montjuic, the game I was at, by the way, fire game. Scored in the Super Cup final against them, and assisted, I believe, 2 goals in the Copa del Rey final. Assisted the Pedri one and the Ferran Torres one. So showed up in the big games, scored against Inter, against Atletico Madrid, against Dortmund, against Bayern. Showed up in all the big games this year, and was rarely drops worse than a 7 out of 10 week in, week out in the league, Champions League, whatever. So to me, he is second.
Fair enough. No, I'm not mad. I'm not mad that you have him as second. I think there is an argument for him to be made about his position relative to the best in the world. I think he does get put into conversations he just has no right to be in right now.
Like what?
In terms of not current players, but like in terms of legends of the game.
Yeah, no, saying the new Messi and stuff. Okay,
Yeah. Like I think that does him a disservice because it slightly starts to overrate him. Not because I can almost bet my entire house on it that he's never going to reach the levels of Messi, right?
But no one will.
But exactly. So that comparison's pretty stupid. The other thing is, it's not fair to put that kind of pressure on a man that's only 17 years old.
And even calling him a man is crazy.
Even calling him a man is crazy, right? But that's why people are like getting maybe a little bit frustrated. People start to like get a little bit frustrated with Lamine Yamal because of the conversations he's being placed in. Now, obviously, again, third, you could have him second. I wouldn't mind having my second and third place switched, to be honest.
I mean, originally I had him first. At one point, when I first made my list, I had him first. So, I mean, listen, but Colin,
before the Nations League.
Nah, this is still even after the Nations League. But the thing is, bro, for me, it's like, the comparisons to Messi, because from what I'm seeing, people are comparing him to just, like Messi wasn't even this good at this age, which is true. No one at 17 was as good as Lamine Yamal is, except maybe Pele, because he won the World Cup. But, that's like 1950s, bro. I dare anyone to tell me they watched Pele, unless we have like a 7-year-old who subscribes. So in that case, shout out. But anyways, Lamine Yamal is the best 17-year-old there's ever been. Like, he's literally the best or second best player on a team that won a domestic treble, could have won the Champions League, won the Euro with Spain as also one of their best players, blah, 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 blah. And he's still, 17. And he has 2 La Ligas, a Copa del Rey, a Euros, whatever. He has like all these trophies under his belt, all this, and he's not even a side man. He's contributing to these achievements. So, best 17-year-old the sport's ever seen. But who do you have at second? Who? You have Salah.
It's Mohamed Salah, the best performing player in the best league in the world, breaking countless records, winning a Golden Boot while also winning Playmaker of the Year, winning the best player of the season in the Premier League.
That's how cooked the Prem is, by the way, if he's winning Playmaker of the Year.
Playmaker of the Year. You know how many? Oh, my God, bro. He's unreal.
But you can't.
Bro, no. Because you're what you're saying, right? What you're saying, okay, is cooked. When I think he was a couple assists off of beating Thierry on
beating on. He was
Thierry
like he had
record.
17 or 18 this year. Yeah, but
I think 18 assists. But
Playmaker to me isn't just assists. You know why? I'll tell you why. Because for example, would you say who's a better playmaker in your opinion, Bellingham or Pedri?
Pedri.
Okay, Bellingham had twice his assists.
No, I understand. I understand but I think we're leaning more into the creativity aspect of it. Sure, of course, Pedri is a better creator.
Like you didn't say Salah's a very good because obviously most assists, whatever. Yeah, he's a fine playmaker. However, is he the best? Like obviously the award is given to whoever gets the most assists.
Yeah, but who's the best playmaker in the Premier League then?
De Bruyne.
No.
De Bruyne's a better playmaker. Well, obviously he is.
Bro, not this season, bro. Please.
Cole Palmer's a better playmaker than Salah.
Oh my God, bro. Now you're just rage baiting, bro. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Salah, he had his incredible season. His side losing to PSG, the eventual Champions League winner. You want to say it's the round of 16, you want to say it's whatever. But this is the same team that everyone now is calling the best team in Europe, and they're calling them the best team in Europe by a mile.
But it's not as simple as that, kid.
It is no, but you have to put things into context.
Yes.
And you're talking about Lamine Yamal. Well, Lamine Yamal and people for the longest time talking about Salah got pocketed. Your brother, dude, this guy also got pocketed by the same dude.
Who? Yeah, in the Nations League. I'm talking
in
about
the Nations League, not even just in the Nations League, in the Nations League final.
Yeah, but is the Nations League even that big of a tournament? I'm
My,
talking
now
about,
it's not a big tournament, but
It's
everybody,
not.
bro, Spain playing their best 11, Portugal playing their
I'm not
best
saying
11.
I'm not saying teams don't want to win it, but I'm basing this off of League, Champions League, whatever. I don't really care about the Nations League. I'm talking
Okay,
Champions
but it doesn't
League, 'cause
matter.
the thing is-
It's head to head.
No, 'cause-
head to head.
Because listen. Okay, listen.
Nuno Mensch pocketed Lamine Yamal.
'cause-
Nuno Mensch did an incredible job against so many right wingers this season.
Yes, but you need to understand something. So, okay, I want you to understand something. First of all, this whole pocketed Lamine Yamal narrative needs to go. Reason why? Okay, first of all, so Lamine Yamal has played Nuno Mendes twice in his career, right? Nations League final, got pocketed, but even despite the fact he got pocketed, he still assisted one of the goals, right? So he still contributed something. And when he played him with PSG last year, when Lamine was still 16, he cooked his ass. He literally cooked his ass. You can go watch the highlights.
We're talking about two different seasons.
Yeah,
and,
no, I
and
know,
arguably
but
two different versions of Nuno.
But I'm getting to my argument with Salah. Okay, the argument that he lost to the eventual winners and also they lost on penalties. Yeah, in a without the context, you might say, okay, fair, because you can't really blame them because they put up a good fight and lost to the eventual winners, right?
And we beat them at home.
Okay. However, we both know that's not true because if we go back to when you guys played PSG, I don't think you can deny, since you mentioned it before, Alisson saved your ass in that game. That game could have easily been 4-5-0 for PSG, if not for Alisson. And then you guys managed to scam a win at the end with Harvey Elliott, by the way, not Salah, who subbed in for Salah. And then scored with his first touch of the game.
Shoulda, coulda, bro.
Okay.
Shoulda, woulda,
And then
coulda,
the thing
bro.
is, it's not like Salah contributed anything to make Liverpool, to give him a chance to win. He didn't do anything both games. And yeah, they went to penalties and lost. Okay, but Salah was literally ghosted.
But you're
both
talking
games.
about a team.
On top of the fact
you're talking about a team that won the Champions League on a 5-0. We took them to penalties.
Yes. We Liverpool, not Salah. On top of the fact that if you're gonna, use the Nations League as a criteria, then okay, I'll use the Carabao Cup. He ghosted against Newcastle.
All right, bro. Well, this doesn't take away from the fact that he still had one of the greatest seasons in the Premier League.
Yeah, that's great, but you can't give second in Ballon d'Or for winning, the one league. You said it was based on trophies earlier.
It is, but Premier League is the best domestic trophy in the world.
Fine. So you're saying one Premier League is worth more than? So okay. I have a question.
You don't think? Wait, you don't think that a Premier League is worth more than a La Liga domestic treble?
No.
Oh my God, bro! Please.
If you're gonna tell me it's worth more than a La Liga, we can debate on that. But saying it's worth more than a La Liga, a Copa del Rey, and a Super Cup, mind you as well, the Super Cup has to be won by playing teams like Atletico and Real Madrid. Because you're gonna say, oh, well, La Liga is only a three-team league or whatever. Fine, but to win the Copa del Rey, Barca had to play Atletico in the semifinals while going in tied, and then going to the Metropolitano. So they were going in with a draw away, and they managed to win that. And they had to play Real Madrid in the final, losing 2-1 with 10 minutes, by the way, and still managed to win. So you're going to act like that plus a league title against, Madrid, whatever. And also a Madrid team that everyone thought was going to dust everyone this year because they got Mbappe. You think one Premier League is worth more than these
the reality
three.
Is
and then one Premier League that Liverpool were able to win with ease because everyone else was shit this year.
with ease.
Yes.
Salah, without Salah, we'd be mid-table.
Yeah, okay. Without Salah, well, not mid-table. Yeah. Without Salah, you guys wouldn't have won it. Sure,
we wouldn't be in the Champions League.
That's cool. But who? So, for example, you guys finished first. Whatever. Arsenal were the team who finished second, right? Mm-hmm. They finished second on what? 73 points, 74 points. 74 points in a normal year gets you like fourth or fifth. This year, Man City were terrible compared to what they normally do. Arsenal compared to the last 2-3 years were not good because obviously I know they made the semifinal of the Champions League, but last year finished on 89 points. The year before on 84, 85. This year on 74. So clear regression in the league. Man City were horrible. Chelsea are, Chelsea. United, Spurs, those guys were literally damn near relegated. Then you had, Newcastle, Aston Villa, whatever. Like, it was, the league itself is decent, but obviously winning it, I'm not saying was easy, but obviously wasn't as easy. Not easy. It wasn't as hard as I think Barca, because Barca had to go against Madrid. Liverpool, after January, February, were pretty much chilling. Like, you guys dropped a bunch of points towards the end of the season. You guys were basically on cruise control for the last 3 months because you guys knew you could, because the league was wrapped at a certain point. So I don't get how you can tell me that one league is tougher than a domestic trouble in Spain. You're going to tell me domestic trouble in, let's say, France? Okay, maybe. Sure. Because France literally has no other teams
But bro,
outside PSG. But Spain, even though you want to say is a shit league, still has 2-3 other very good teams. So I mean, you can't hit me with this.
I still
It's
think
better.
that the Premier League is worth more, and I also believe that on an individual level, because we all know that individual achievements matter. I think on an individual level, Salah is up there with even who I have as my number one on an individual achievement level. So
But I have a question. So you're putting Salah. So you put Rafinha fifth, Salah second. Now my question is: so statistically, Rafinha had better stats than Salah this year. Okay. And won more trophies. Whether or not you think, okay, they're worth more than Premier League, whatever. The facts are he had better stats, won more trophies, and made it further in the Champions League. So
yeah,
how are you putting him all the way in fifth
I
and
mentioned the
Salah
La Liga
second?
tax. Don't worry, I already mentioned that. We all know that there's a La Liga tax. It's harder to score in the Premier League. It's harder to achieve things in the Premier League. And whether you agree or whether you disagree.
So if
and,
it's
and,
so
and on
hard,
top of
why
that-
is
on
Man
top of
City
that-
won 8 of the
on
last
top of that,
14 leagues?
Salah, on top of that, bro, Salah, right, was playing next to the likes of Darwin Nunez and Luis Diaz.
A player that you say you love, by the way.
I love him. I love him not for his footballing ability.
Okay, now I have a question. If the Premier League is insanely hard, how come 6 of the last 8 titles have gone to one team?
Because that team spends an egregious amount of money and knows how to recruit
but they
players.
still-
and
but
have-
they-
and
but they
have
still
the
ma-
they have
yeah,
the
yeah.
best manager of all time.
Fine, but they still managed to lose most years to a Spanish team in Real Madrid.
All right, well,
So La Liga tax, but Man City loses to them in most years, and Liverpool too. By the way.
Real Madrid have a deal with the devil in the Champions League. There's something going on there. We all know that is like, bro. We know in 2022 we saw what happened in that final. There's some kind of like weird thing about Real Madrid winning Champions Leagues, and you know that for a fact because you haven't won one in 10 years. But anyway, I digress. Anyway, let's move on to my number one and your number one.
Rafinha number one. You have Dembele. Fine. Rafinha, like I said, stats, trophies, amazing player, amazing season. Should have been UEFA Player of the Season. Not Dembele. Had top goal scorer, top assister in the Champions League. Scored goals in many of the biggest games. Scored a hat trick against Bayern. Scored 2 goals against Inter Milan in the semi. Scored against Dortmund. Scored against Benfica. Last minute winner, etc., etc. Was very good throughout the whole year and was doing it from August, not from January. So Rafinha should be number one. You're gonna say Dembele. I disagree, but go ahead.
I'm gonna say Dembele. I feel like I've kind of already beat this horse. Pause. I don't know why I said that. Yeah. I think I've already made my case for Dembele. Do I think he's the best player in the world? No. I think Lamine Yamal or Mohamed Salah are the best players in the world, if I'm being honest. But do I think that the voters will favor him in a vote for a Ballon d'Or? Yes. France football. He's French. He's achieved a lot. It's credit to him. He's also individually accomplished a lot. So do I think that the voters will favor him? Yes. I think a lot of the stat makers and the odds makers and everything are have him at number one. Obviously, we saw that what happened last season when all those guys were having Vinny in at number one. So it's not like something set in stone. But I do believe that the more time progresses, the more the image becomes clearer that the Ballon d'Or will go to Ousmane Dembele. You agree? You disagree? I'm not actually mad that you have Rafinha in at number one. I think that you can have a very valid argument to have him in at number one. And I think that everybody in our top 5, quite frankly, aside maybe, I think I'd be hard pressed to have Vitinha in at number one. But I think a lot of the people that we have in our top 5 can have a case to be in at number one. So, that's the whole point.
Though.
All right, well then you're delusional. So, but guys, the whole point is those are our top 5. We want to hear who your top 5 are. So let us know in the comments. Do you agree with Brahim? Do you agree with me? Or do you agree with none of us? Let us know. And also, guys, go check out our socials. Basement Ballers live on Twitch. Basement Ballers virtually on every other platform. TikTok, Instagram, all that. So go check us out. If you want to join our Discord, Ballers Academy, the link will be in the description. It's very fun. You can talk to real people, over 150 members, about your Ballon d'Or rankings in real time and have an actual discussion. So go. We encourage you to join the community, become a baller today. And without further ado, guys, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace out.